Okay, hold on, Jen. Okay, good evening, everyone. This is Lynette Grace. I'm James Cronenberg. We have Johnny Bell from Marion on phone, and we're going to share a little bit about his story as well as Grace's story. Grace was one of the victims of the situation, and I'll let Grace share a little bit. But Johnny, how did Grace come to forgive you? Yes.
This call is originating from
I
an
don't think you can
Ohio
answer
correctional
that.
facility and may be recorded and monitored.
Originally, I received a letter, and in the letter she asked me if it would be possible if I could place her on my visiting list so that we could speak.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've heard the story over and over again. He's got bad connection. And I mean, it's tremendous and inspirational how all this came about. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, because you have a lot of static to Grace. Share a little bit about your thoughts on how important forgiveness is, and did forgiveness start the healing process with you?
Yes, forgiveness did start the healing process. And I had always wanted to talk to Mr. Bell about what happened, but I had no idea how to find him. And someone helped me locate him at the prison. So like he said, I wrote a letter and he responded favorably, as well as with a letter of apology for his actions. And so that's what started the process with me going in to visit with Mr. Bell.
Okay. If he did not send a letter of apology, do you believe the forgiveness would have taken place?
I would have to say yes, because he asked, and because I felt like I couldn't do anything less for him than what God had done for me. So that's why I had no problem forgiving Mr. Bell when he asked.
Right. Johnny, I know about your case. I'm not going to bring that up because that's not important. What's important is, do you believe you're rehabilitated now?
100%, because a person can tell you anything imaginable, but for the most part, the proof is in the pudding. If anybody decides to get to know somebody and get to understand who they are and how they are as a person, you will be able to learn a lot about that person's character. And as for myself, Miss Grace got a chance to witness that firsthand, from the first letter she sent me up until this point. Constantly, I say it time and time again that really she was the last person I ever expected to come back and see me all the time.
Okay. So it seems like, how is the programs that you've taken? Have you taken a lot of programs?
Yes, I've done everything from violent offender program, anger management, stress management, cage of rage, victims awareness.
Thinking for a change.
Yeah. Yeah. She said thinking for a change as well.
Cage or Rage.
I've taken that 9 times when I was locked up. They run out of programs, and you got to take them over and over again. When
Call is originating from an Ohio
I'm going to
correctional
bring up his
facility
next pro
and
hearing.
may be recorded and monitored.
When is your next pro hearing?
I did see them last week, so as of this moment, I think my next hearing will be 2022.
Okay, that's only a couple years away. What do you need? What do you need our people to do to help you get a parole?
Right now, it's funny you ask that. Because, you know, to be honest, and to be blunt, a lot of people feel as though the only thing nowadays that help with the parole board is basically it just depends on how the parole board is gonna feel on the day that you see them. But you know, when they see me, they were so overwhelmed with the past and things of that nature to where it's hard to say what they need because they've quoted the nature of the crime so many times, it's hard to gauge what it is they really want.
Right. You know, if our bill passes, you would be brought to the parole board within 6 months of the passage because you were a juvenile.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it's the Fair Treatment Act. We have a sponsor in the House, and we need to gain support on this. Lynette sits on a board now, and she's a big part of our group. You know, and I tell you, you know, this is so unique and neat actually on how the forgiveness came to be, because I get called a lot of times from victims and get cussed out sometimes. Yep, but you know,
Okay. If I may, let me ask you this.
sure.
The parole board requires inmates to show remorse. Innocent inmates are incapable of showing remorse for crimes they did not commit. So what guidelines to be established for the parole board in dealing with inmates who claim to actually be innocent?
The only way they can actually get a flop under our bill would be if they pick up a new felony. They have to take into consideration the person's innocence. You know, that's required in our bill. And we know there's innocent people, then there's wrongfully convicted people, which means they might be guilty of something, just not what they were convicted of. So, but,
Thank you for that.
right. And are you guilty of the crime completely?
This call is originating from an
Let's see what he
Ohio
says.
correctional facility
I think he's not
and may be
gonna have
recorded
me
and
for that.
monitored.
I didn't hear the first part, but I heard the last part.
Yeah. Are you 100% guilty or not?
Sir, to that I would have to say I am 100% guilty of my crime.
Okay. That means, you know, when you admit the truth like that, that's part of being rehabilitated. There's so many of us. There's so many people that just don't want to admit to it, and you know, they keep coming back. Are you working on a stay out plan?
A plan to stay out of prison.
Yeah. I don't know if they can hear.
Long in the habit, trying to achieve something that you the responsibilities as a man that you have, and everything that you have to do for yourself to stay out of trouble, out of way. But for the most part, just being right there with your loved ones and children that you have it.
Right. One thing I tell the men to do is find 5 men.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
Well, one thing I've been telling the men is to find 5 men to be on your support team when you get released, so that you could call them any time of day or night. So that I usually say Christian men, because I think that's very important that you have the support on the street as well. Because right now you're in a protected environment, and as you know, and everybody else knows, being on the street is totally different. Yes, right. I did 25 years. You've done more than me, and it's a big change when you get released.
Yes, I know. I definitely know that for sure.
Well, what would you like to say to Lynette?
The one thing I would like to say to Lynette is, above all else, I constantly tell you that I apologize for, the crimes that I've committed against you. But I also tell you all the time that you are a beautiful human being and you have a beautiful heart.
About me?
Until I myself go into my grave, I'm going to do everything in my power to constantly give back, redirect, and correct the wrong that I did to you and your family.
Okay. Yeah, you got a smiling. Now it's Lynette's chance on what she wants to say to you.
I wish Johnny the best, and I hope things go well for him, and I wish nothing but positive and good things for him.
Do you think he's ready for the street?
I do. I think he's ready for the streets.
Okay. I do too, myself. Of course, I'm pro-inmate, and granted, there's a few that shouldn't be released, but there's so many that should be, especially the juveniles that never had a chance, to live. And like I was telling Lynette earlier, I don't believe we wake up to say we're going to hurt someone. Something happens, during that day that causes us to have anger, and that's when it happens. But remember this, Johnny, only you can stay out of prison. You have to have the willpower, and it seems to me that you have changed, but you have to be willing to allow others to help you succeed. So, but, and
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded
we may have
and
to do it
monitored.
again with on the regular phone. But, Marion, I did my last 10 years at Marion, by the way. So,
This is a campus I definitely can say is one of a kind.
right. I was at Lucasville, Old Mansfield, because I got locked up before the reception center. That was a reformatory number. I was a kid too. So not as young as you though. But
For sure, I definitely would say for sure that, it's been a hell of an experience coming to a place like this at the age of 16 and, pretty much grow up and be raised in a place like this.
right. right? But something positive is going to happen because remember this: good things happen to good people. So you got to keep remembering that. We all make mistakes, some worse than others. But if God can forgive one, He can forgive the other. So, and you're lucky to have Grace. Working with you. So.
Trust me, I know that for sure because I'm very thankful because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here now.
Right. Well, we will be putting on Voices of Reform in a couple weeks, which means you will have to call in a couple times that day for that one because that goes out to a lot of people. And what our goal is to get your guys' stories out there to show that people can change, the guilty ones and the innocent ones, that they're all worthy of change. And a second chance. So I'm going to let you talk to Grace here for a little bit until the time runs out. Here's Grace.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
That's great. Grace is over here with a big, not Grace, Lynette's over here with a big smile on her face. Maybe it's because she's on YouTube, I don't know. Or maybe it's because she's sitting next to me. Who knows? But, which I don't blame her. But, we got a board member that would be coming into Marion on the 24th of this month. From 1 to 3 o'clock. Our president, Gina McCullough. So see if you could go down there and see her. I'm kind of restricted to go back into Marion. The only camp I can't get in. But keep your chin up. Something good's going to happen. And feel free to call anytime you need something. We're always here to serve, okay?
Hey, I do have a question. Johnny, you did read the bill, right? You got a copy of the bill?
Yes, I do.
Not the 90-page one.
What do you think about it after reading it? How do you feel about it? Do you feel, comfortable about it? You feel good about it? How do you feel about it?
After reading the bill, honestly, when I read it for the first time, it brought tears to my eyes because
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
me personally, I feel like that bill fits me in every sense. So, but, there's a few things I was wondering, but if anything, I would have to say, with the truth and sentencing laws, the mandates, they require inmates to serve 80% of their time, and how would the parole board
2/3 under the old law.
treat atrocity behind it?
Yeah, Johnny, the 80% is under the new law. Under the old law, it was 70, 2/3 before you see the parole board. So if this bill passes, you would be called up within 6 months and most likely on your way out the door. So if anything, pray that God will intervene in this, because right now this is what we're trying to get done. We're also going to work on a petition drive to get on the ballot, so we have a backup plan. But something good's going to happen. So,
If I may, let me ask you one last question.
sure.
Towards the end of your sentence, did you ever get to a point where you kind of wanted to give up?
All the time. All the time. But I had to keep pushing myself, because I knew I was at the end of the tunnel. Granted, you have more time than I had, but sooner or later your time will come for you to get released as well. And you got to cherish that moment and not give up. And you got people like Lynette that cares about you, and I'm sure there's many other people that care about you as well. Right before I left Marion, there was a gentleman that was getting ready to get released in 2 days. He bought a dog, he went to the hole and hung himself. And he was leaving in 2 days. And that was at Marion there. And I was good friends with him. And he gave up. You can't afford to give up. You got to keep going. Yeah, because remember, there's a lot of good things you can do on the street. So, and you got to stay out of trouble while you're locked up. I know it's hard sometimes, but, you got to walk the other way. So, but, because I played all the games too when I first got locked up. I think Tyler was about 30. I had 15 dirty urines, and I had several fights. I got busted for running football tickets. So there's a lot of things I did wrong. But the moral of the story is, if I can change, you can change. If I can be successful, you can be successful. But you have to want to be. So, I believe God's got a plan for you. I don't think you and Grace Lynette would have got hooked up, like you did in a friendship way. So, I got a lot of wrinkles. You ever notice that? Yeah, but this is really exciting, and we're going to do a follow-up, but in a couple of weeks, like I said, you're going to be on Voices of Reform, which means you're going to have to call in about twice during that show. I'll have Grace over here again. She'll be my co-host that day, which maybe she'll be periodically on a Sunday. Because this is so unique to hear your stories, and they're all so similar on why you guys are not being released. It's a dictatorship that is centered around money. So, and if you don't have a lot of money, you're going to get the time. So,
Can I also say that the story appears on the Forgiveness Project website? Am I allowed to?
Yes, and Grace has something to say quickly.
Okay. If anybody wanted to look at the story more in depth, it can be found on the Forgiveness Project website. If you Google my name, Lynette Grace, Grace, it will come up for you on the Forgiveness Project website.
Okay, you also have T-shirts for sale and buttons.
Yes, I have buttons that say "Forgiveness is contagious, pass it on," and also T-shirts that say the same thing, as well as "Forgiving Grace" by his design.
How much are you asking for the T-shirts?
$20 a piece.
Okay, how do they order them?
My email address is doorkeeper90@gmail.com.
Doorkeeper, what is it?
90 doorkeeper90@gmail.com.
So those shirts are really nice. I'm going to get one eventually. So why don't you order yourself one? And the buttons we're asking for a donation of $2 for it. They do cost money to make. And they're real nice buttons. I got one on my suit that I just keep transferring to my other suit. I probably need like 10 of those buttons, though.
I'll give them to you.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather have ice cream tonight. So, this is really a unique situation, and I really want people to check out the website, like she said. And when we have Johnny on our Voice of Reform, please listen. And on this video, please share. Let's break records. We need to get the word out on these people. We need to assist these people for their release. We can't just sit back and allow the abuse that is taking place. Now, Johnny, say what you'd like to say before you run out of time.
I'd like to say on behalf of myself and many others in here, struggling to keep my head up and their head up as well, and keep their head above the water in here, dealing with this time. For all of us that have our time in, that have shown that none of us are the same person from the time that we committed a case that's fighting for a second chance. I'd like to say, if it's not going to be change with the voices that we have with the breath of our body to make a change for a better tomorrow, a better future, that we need any and everybody out there that's capable of speaking for us to please.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
To please take a stand and let their voice be heard, because without y'all, we have no voice.
That's true. That's very true. It's really great to hear your stories, because they're all, like I said, they're all so very similar. But all your stories are so similar. Nature of offense. You served way past your minimum. The judge sentenced you to, I don't know if it was 10 to life, 15 to life, or whatever it was. You were supposed to be released after your minimum.
I just want to say, Johnny, thank you so much for allowing us to have this interview with you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, and we're going to still have you on in a couple of weeks on Voices of Reform. And it's really an honor to have you on. I heard so much about you from Lynette, that I feel like I know you.
And James, thank you so much for the interview.
No problem. You're just honored to sit next to me. But we're going to continue this conversation in a couple weeks, Johnny. Okay? Okay, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate everything that you're doing for us.
You're very welcome. It's team effort. Okay.
Thank you, Lynette.
You're quite welcome, sir. You're more than welcome.
Thank you for using me.
Okay, that is Johnny Bell. That is Grace was one of the victims of a brutal stabbing and murder. She came to the point in her life where she forgave the guy. I think it's more or less because of her faith. That's what she tells me. And Johnny also asked her if she would forgive him. And I've asked Grace many times, would you still forgive him? And she says to this day, she that's a big step, but that's when the healing process can begin, is once you get to the point where you can actually forgive somebody and not dwell on a crime or whatever happened. You will still always remember it,
True.
but the forgiveness part, the healing begins. So we're gonna have Johnny on a couple of weeks. So this is really a great show and a great opportunity to have to talk to our people. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, everyone.